Welcome to the Living the Dream podcast with Curveball. If you believe, you can achieve. Hello and welcome to another episode of Living the Dream with Curveball. I am your host, Curveball, and once again, I am joined by Shane Lowe. But this time, instead of talking about his developer side, we will be talking about his radio side. So, Shane,
Hey,
thank you
it's
for
been a long
joining me.
time. I've missed you. It's
Absolutely.
been a while. I haven't seen you for.
Absolutely. Yeah,
It's been
that's
ages.
great. Absolutely.
Hey, man, how are you?
Oh, I'm pretty good. So,
I'm glad to hear it. I love the energy. I'm
oh
feeling
yeah.
it.
Oh, I love it. I love to talk to people and definitely love to talk about radio. So why don't
Oh,
you
hell yeah.
basically
Yes, this
get
is the
in?
informal side.
Yeah. So why don't you get in and just kind of tell everybody about how you got in radio and how long you been in?
Yes. So, okay, I'm gonna put it in perspective for you. I am currently 20 years old, 20, and at the age of 10, I started. Actually, you know what? I just started the podcast. I'm already lying to you. At the age of 9, I started at my school. We had this little radio station. It was really cool. It had like the old fashioned mixing desk, soundboard. It had a a what the heck is it called? It had one of those radio broadcaster transceivers that would broadcast up to 1 mile radius around it. It was pretty neat. And so we had this radio station that we could run for the school campus and for the businesses around the school. And so my first real appearance on radio was there. I was doing shows. So I was going by at the time. I was going by DJ Coldcast. I thought that was the coolest radio name in the business, and I thought I was hot stuff. And so I was mixing and streaming on air, and I was doing that all the time, and I was having a great time with it. But I was into like hood rap at the time, hardcore rap music, and there were too many curse words to fly for a school radio station. So after a while, I had to step down. I was always into podcasting and recording though, so I did podcasting for a couple of years until I was 13, and then I joined the management of a radio station called Grenade Radio, and I was with them for about 4 years. I was doing communications there. I was doing a show there. So I built up my main talk show that I do called The Arcade. And in 2017, Grenade Radio closed down. It was it had a legacy. You know, it was run by kids. You know, it was a really it was a stress relief. It was an outlet where kids could be kids and just have a good time. And you know, the content was kind of all over the place. But it was, it was fun. Had a good time. And then in 2018, I was approached by a big name in internet radio. David Dunphy reached out to me about he had heard that I was on Grenade and that I had dropped radio for about a year when Grenade went down, and he was starting up a station in New York City, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to come on and do some content?" And I was like, "Well, after being in management for 4 years, I'd love to do content, but I'd also love to jump in on the management side." And so he brought me on as general manager of what was 195 The Globe for about. I stayed with them for about a year and a half or so, just managing, directing. I had a show at the time that I was co-hosted with my man Brian Ford. Shout outs to Brian Ford out of Scotland. And after that, after I stepped down from the Globe because I wanted to pursue my own project. I wanted to build something from the ground up, my own. And so I called in my best friends, people I'd known for a long time, my fiance, friends of friends, just the tightest group of people with the best skills that I knew. And we started putting together what was designed to be still stress relief, still fun, still informal, but with a high quality standard. You know, we wanted to have fun, but we wanted it to sound good. We wanted it to be packageable and appealing for people to listen to. And so over the course of the next 9 months, we developed what's called Venom Variation Entertainment, a network of original media, and that launched on November 1st, 2019, and we've been going ever since.
Sweet. Now, when you first started in radio, were you always internet radio or were you in the AM, FM traditional? Because I know that a lot of blind people, and I just graduated from broadcasting school, but the problem with regular radio is a lot of stuff is touchscreen. So you can't just walk into a radio station as a blind person and work because of the touchscreen stuff. How did you start?
I started on so my first station, the one I was talking to you about out of my school, was terrestrial. It was on FM. It was an FM frequency that you could tune into, as long as you were in the radius of that transmitter. And so that one, the soundboard and everything was actually accessible. You know, it we put braille labels on it, anything that needed to be labeled. But for the most part, it was, you'd remember the third dial from the left was your mic volume, the fourth dial from the left was your music input volume, and you had the switches and stuff. Super old fashioned, 90s, maybe even 80s technology. And then once I got into the internet stuff, it was all about the technology. So all of that stuff is run software side on my laptop.
Absolutely. What software do you use? I use Station Playlists.
Yeah, my man, Station Playlist all the way here. I'm running Station Playlist 5.4 Pro. It's a great piece of software that I use for all of my broadcasts. Also, they have if you want to, you can use they have Station Playlist Creator, which designs playlists that can
I
be
have
played
that
out in,
too.
in rotation. Very cool. Very cool.
You know,
Yeah,
they
I
just
love
came
Station
out
Playlist.
with 5.5 for Creator as well as Station Playlists, right?
Woo! Nice. Yes, they did. Yeah, I know they just had an update to Creator. I don't use my man Brian I was talking about earlier. He does the Creator stuff, and he's really great with all them fancy gadgets.
Now
And
your
I studio side.
now your platform, what format is your platform and are you guys actually making any kind of money? Because I know it is tough in radio, especially with the different mergers, but are you guys actually making any money or getting any sponsors?
So the thing with Venom is, as I mentioned, it's a very much a stress relief project. We're doing it because we're enjoying it, and it's fun. It's something that we can do in the evenings, and we have a really great lineup of shows. You can check it out at venom.fm if you'd like. Lots of stuff we're doing right now. We've got a live music festival coming up. Um, you can check that out at venom.fm/sol for the venom.fm Singing Out Loud Festival. And the long and short of it is, we are, of course, this is a question that we get a lot, because there are a lot of internet radio stations that try to skate by, kind of under the wire. We are legally licensed. We work with BMI and other licensing exchange companies, so that we are, completely giving back to all of the artists that we're promoting and that we're playing. But currently we are working as not for profit. So we're not really, it's we're offering, if you want to donate, there's a page. We kind of keep it hidden because we don't like to ask too much money from our listeners. It's mostly about camaraderie and giving people something that they can enjoy, something they can rely on, a steady group of friends.
Now, are you guys on any apps as far as TuneIn or iHeart or anything like that?
We're on a few of the streaming directories. What happened was, ironically, just as we were launching, TuneIn closed their submissions for new radio stations. So we weren't able to join TuneIn. Unfortunately, we're not on iHeart. We're not. We are not. How do I say? We are more of we take the underground radio network kind of approach. We have a lot of different channels. We are kind of an all inclusive network. So we have what's called Venom Live. That's our mainstream where you can hear all of the live content. We got a lot of people doing shows all different times a day. But then we also have streams for different genres, all the genres we offer. We have 9 genre streams right now. Anything from classic rock to today's modern hits to scores to instrumental progressive rock. We're trying to hit those, kind of niche markets, the things that you don't often see on mainstream radio, but that you still enjoy.
What kind of following or listenership do you guys have, and how do you guys promote and advertise? Because obviously, even though you're not making money off of it, you still would like to get listeners.
Of course, absolutely. We are really blessed, man. We have a great following. We have a lot of really cool people that come and hang out with us. Um, I mentioned the arcade, the talk show that I do. I've been running that for 7 years now, and it's now on Venom every Sunday night, and we have a great following for that. We have Facebook and Twitter. That's usually where we're posting our announcements. We are facebook.com/Venom Live and also Venom_live on Twitter. Most of our stuff we post on Twitter. We're really active and communicate a lot with people there. That seems to be the platform that most of our listeners prefer.
So tell us about your talk show, The Arcade. What is it about, and how has it evolved versus when you first started it up until now?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So the arcade now, I'll tell you what it is now first. The arcade now is an anything goes group of friends sitting down having it's like a weekly dinner that we have together. It goes, we've had 3-hour shows, we've had 7-hour shows. And what we do, we talk about the issues of the day. We covered the election last week. We talk about politics. We talk about all manner of things, religion. But the goal, though, is that we're not all the same perspectives. So you're not all going to hear the Democratic side. You're not all going to hear the Republican side. And we respect each other. We're a group of friends. A lot of us have known each other for a long time. We have new people come in pretty frequently too. So the goal is to support everyone, meet them where they are, and really grow and learn as people and respect the perspectives of other people. And what comes out of that is really honest, organic, vibrant conversation. We talk about a lot of stuff. We laugh a lot. Um, it's a snapshot of history, each week where we're talking about current events. We're talking about our lives. It's like you're sitting down with your friends for a night. We play games. We each week we have like a playthrough series. So we also play different games. Right now we're playing The Last of Us 2, which is a post-apocalyptic horror action kind of game, and we play that every week until we finish up the storyline. My man Drew Mochak is playing that game. Shout out to him. You can check him out on twitch.tv/object in space. He's really, really good. And he does a lot of the gameplay for us. Now, when I started the arcade 7 years ago, I was really into gaming. That's why it's called the arcade. And so what I wanted to do with it at first was I wanted to do game reviews. I wanted to review new games on the market that were accessible for blind people. And most of us are blind on the show. We have a few sighted people coming in as well. And so I started reviewing games on the show. Really formal. I would talk about everything, how the gameplay worked, how the menus worked, like keystrokes, commands. I was teaching people how to play the game. And what would happen was I'd sometimes have special guests come on the show. Shout outs to my friends Justin and Malik. I worked with them on Grenade Radio, and they would come on the show most often, as fellow managers and close friends of mine, and they would, they would distract me. Their banter. They would add this funny banter to the game review, and they would just throw me off task because I was trying to do this really serious, explanation, and they'd be cracking jokes and being funny and stuff. And so over the course of probably the first year of the show, it was kind of me battling with the guests and the listeners who were trying to make, comedy out of it and just being funny. And after a while, I realized, like, why am I fighting my market? These are the people that are listening to the show. They want to have fun. And so I relaxed it a lot. I was like, okay, we could play games still. We can have a good time playing games and talk about the games and how they work. but let's also add in sections where we talk and have fun and just chat with each other and really get to hear each other's perspectives on air and just share that experience together. And we were able to do that, and it manifested really well. That's when the show really took off and started growing a big following. I now work with, people will launch products on the arcade because of the following, and we're really grateful for that. I used to say, like, I don't know why anybody listens to us. We're just a bunch of friends messing around. And then one day I missed an episode. I asked my good friend Emily, shout out to her. She is the assistant to the regional manager on Venom, and I asked my friend Emily if she would cover the show for me because I couldn't make it. I was on a flight, and I landed early. And my fiance Precious and I were listening to the show that Emily was hosting, the episode of the arcade, and I finally realized why why people listen to my own show. Because I was like, I don't understand why anybody listens to it before. I was just enjoying the ride that everybody was enjoying it until I listened and realized it's about camaraderie. It's about fellowship and friendship. If you're lonely on a Sunday night, if you don't have something to do, or if you want to hear about other perspectives and be open minded, if you just want to have a good time and listen to people chat in your living room, it's like a party every Sunday night. We all have just a really great time, and the vibe, the spirit of that has been evolving and only growing for 7 years. So it's a ton of fun.
Absolutely. I definitely plan to check it out.
Very
Um,
cool. Thank you.
with with the mergers and different downsizes in radio here in the past few years or recent future or recent past, how do you feel radio has changed, and what advice would you give somebody trying to get in radio? Because as you and I both know, it's a tough business.
Absolutely. I have a good friend who's in mainstream radio. Shout outs to Label as well. I'm just dropping names all over this thing. I I think it depends on what you're in to do for radio. I love radio with a passion, but you're absolutely right with the mergers that are happening. I'm seeing more and more recording and less live action happening on radio. You don't really see the spontaneity on iHeartRadio. You see the corporate media marketing strategies. You really see the big business, the industrial side of the music business and the radio business on platforms like iHeartRadio. And for some people, that's really what they're into. And I am, I dabble in the music industry and in the press here and there, in different podcasts that I've done and things like that. And so, I have a lot of respect for those people, but at the same time, that kind of heavily heavily marketed, heavily I don't know, condensed maybe is I don't know if condensed is the right word, but it's really the content has been very very tailored to where there's no spontaneity. There's just um pure psychological marketing behind it, and that's not the kind of radio that I really want to be a part of. I miss the live morning shows that you could tune into 10 or 20 years ago and you could hear mistakes happen. You could hear interviews live as they were going out and call in and ask questions. I would watch radio. I would watch these interviews from the 1980s with John Bon Jovi or with Brian Adams, and I'd hear these guys just talking to people on the phone, and I'd hear people just organically call in, and the hosts were they had to be on their toes. They had to be so clever because you never knew what was going to happen. And I don't want to burst anyone's bubble, but the truth is now that on a lot of these mainstream platforms like iHeart, most of those call-ins that you get, they sound so perfect and they sound so precise because they've been scripted. They're not actual
Yeah,
listener calls.
the rule was when we went to school is that you do not take a live call, you edit it and do what you need to do with it.
Yep, absolutely. And a lot of those are scripted. I'd hear shows. I've known radio hosts who would just record a call with their girlfriend or whatever, and say, say that it was a listener. And I, sometimes I'd be listening to radio with my family, and they would say, "Wow, how did they get that call so perfectly live?" And I'd have to say, "No, that's not live. That's not that's not real." And for me, I really prefer that organic feeling, and so that's kind of what Venom is. It's that organic. Everything happens live. We do we we have a lot of really competent audio people. Again, shout out to Malik, shout out to Brian. Um, a lot of really great people doing that stuff. Shout out to our network guy Simon, who does a lot of really amazing audio stuff. Um, and we do produce that kind of content that that is really precise, really tailored, really edited. But that's for certain things, commercials, promotional info. We have that that professional, high quality sound. But when we're live on air, when the mics are on, that's all live. That's all authentic. And so my advice to people when you want to go into radio is think about what you want to go into radio for. If you want 50,000 people to listen to you every morning, that's the way you go. You go the corporate mainstream way. If you want to be, you know, really raw, really authentic, if you want to get everything across, and it's more about the message and more about the content that you put out, then maybe consider a smaller route where you've got a little bit higher degrees of freedom. Those are my thoughts. What do you think about this in radio yourself? What do you think about this perspective?
I think in the smaller markets you will have more control.
Oh yeah,
In the bigger markets, it's voice tracked. Now, speaking of that, you guys say you do live shows and you got several friends on your talk show. How do you manage that? How do you guys connect and get on at the same time?
absolutely. Yeah, that's all remote stuff. Sometimes I have, we'll somebody will visit someone, and so they're in the same room. But for the most part, it's all remote. And so we get together on a platform called Team Talk. It's a really great conferencing platform, and from there, we can adjust everyone's levels individually. I as the host, and I can run them through software called Virtual Audio Cable into Station Playlist, to where we can have a show with anywhere from two people remotely to 15 people remotely, and that's happened before. 15 people in all different places on the show, and we can make it work with Team Talk
I
because it's
definitely know
so.
about Team Talk, and I
Oh yeah,
definitely will
it's
remember
so
that
versatile.
if we ever need to do. Yes, absolutely. Um, Tell us about any upcoming projects that you guys are working on there at Venom so the listeners can know
Yeah,
about them.
absolutely, man. We've got our Singing Out Loud festival coming up. That's going to start December 7th with the live content. And what that is Singing Out Loud is you can go, it's popular choice. You vote on who you want to hear. So you can go to venom.fm/SOL, Singing Out Loud, and you can vote for who you want to hear perform. And we will put together sets from those artists that you vote for, and they will be aired live. And we'll put out a schedule on December 1st. So you have until December 1st, 2020 to get your votes in. And then the festival runs December 7th through the 13th. We have coming up in the summertime in July, it's VCon 2021. It's the first one that we're doing. It's going to be an all live in person convention where the Venom staff are going to all get together. We're going to have a great time and do lots of different things. We're going to do restaurant reviews. We're going to have live jam sessions because most of us are musicians, all kinds of fun stuff. Speaking of musicianship, usually the first Wednesday of every month, except for this month, except for November and December, we have a jam session where anyone can come on Team Talk. We talk together. We take turns and everyone performs and can play songs. Those things tend to go anywhere from 6 to 8 hours. So you can come in and jam and play music. It's a really supportive, fun environment. And you can also go to venom.fm/jam and check out prior episodes of the jam sessions. And there's just a lot of regular content that's really amazing on Venom. You know, People I've mentioned already, Emily, that our general manager, has a show called the Retro Spectrum where she does themes each week. She could do songs with body parts in the title, or songs with names in the title, and these different things. She does these amazing shows. Brian does several really great shows. Him and I collaborate on a show called Metal Amped on Thursday nights, where we review new rock and metal albums before they are released in the United States. A lot of fun. We got some new guys in that are really, really good. My man Jimmy Steele, every Wednesday night, right now, actually, at the time of recording, he's doing it right now. He does a talk show called Talk About It, where he talks about current events or other interesting topics in politics or science or the military. Um, so many amazing people we could shout out. Really, honestly, everyone does incredible things on this network, and I'm so grateful to work with all of these people. A lot of really incredible stuff happening. And of course, if you want to check out all of that stuff, please, please, please go to venom.fm/shows. That's if there's one thing on Venom that I want you to check out, it's all of the shows from all of the amazing people that I get to work with, because these guys are really incredible. Drew, our gamer, does a show called Thought Food every Sunday, where he plays content that is thought provoking. Sometimes it's a movie, sometimes it's an audio drama, and we talk about the relevance of that and the content of that. It's really fun. Um, just there's so much amazing content that I could talk about it all night. So go to venom.fm and just check out what we have, because these guys do amazing stuff.
Definitely sounds like you guys are doing it big over there on Venom. Is there
Thank you, brother.
anything else that, absolutely, is there anything else that we haven't touched on that you would like to touch on before we
Yeah,
go?
man. If well, you Curveball, if you want to join us, or if anyone out there listening wants to join us, there's a link on our website where you can fill out an application, and we'd love to talk to you about your content, what you might want to do, and we'd love to work with you. So if you want to do a show or produce some content with us, if you want to work together to make some stuff that people are really going to care about, then feel free to go to venom.fm as well and click on that join us link in the menu. And we'd love to work with you. We'd love to make connections and have a good time. Our audience is really open to new stuff, so it'd be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And I definitely know a lot of DJs working at Blind Cafe Radio as well as G Spin Radio.
I'm not familiar with those.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, they are Blind Cafe Radio is a variety music station, and G Spin Radio is like a top 40. Uh, and I do R&B and Motown and gospel shows on those stations.
Oh,
G
very
Spin
cool.
Radio is absolutely G
Very
Spin
cool.
Radio, gspinradio.com. And Blind Cafe Radio is blindcafe.net/radio. And
Nice.
yeah,
And
so
venom.fm right there along with
absolutely.
it.
Yeah, so you guys definitely check them out. Make sure you spread those links, and please rate and review after listening. Shane, thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure, man. It's been an absolute blast to be here with you 2 times in a row. Looks like we're keeping in touch. Let's keep it up, brother. This was a great time. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. For more information on the Living the Dream podcast, visit www.djcurveball.com. Until next time, stay focused on living the dream.